us about the Harlem Renaissance would be its great elements of racial pride.
The Harlem Renaissance put an end to opinions of African American incapability and insuperiority. It was a time of black literary and artistic expression and pride, despite the ill-willed attempts of Caucasian extremists to prevent such a movement.
Though the aspects of slavery had been left in the past, African Americans were still treated as beings less than human. A good amount of Caucasians, especially the common extremists, believed that those with darker skin were incapable of retaining information the way others did. Completing tasks less efficiently, they were seen as overall much less intelligent.
When the Great Migration began, blacks began to prove these extremists wrong. During this literal movement, thousands of African Americans departed from their former homes in the South and relocated to more densely populated areas. These areas allowed for more freedom of expression and culture. One of these places, as you may have guessed, was Harlem, New York.
Of course, these blacks took full advantage of this freedom. Beginning in Harlem, African Americans began to plant new businesses of their own, such as newspapers and theaters. This new way of living became so well-known and iconic that it was soon classified as an official era. Most participated in the literal and artistic art.
These African Americans wanted to prove their white counterparts' stereotypes wrong, and they did just that. As Harlem artists continued to grow in popularity, specifically writers, white literary establishments were drawn to their talents and began to publish their works. Painters and sculptors became world-renowned, their works astonishing citizens all over the world.
While the Harlem Renaissance was a time of pride, this pride cannot be wielded without a means of expression. This time period is also known for African American literature, music, and art.
The Harlem Renaissance was home to many world-renowned poets and authors, such as Langston Hughes, Claude McKay, and Sterling A. Brown. The awe-inspiring words of these individuals, as mentioned before, drew the attention of eager readers and publishers alike. One of Langston Hughes' well-known poems, titled Dreams, is short yet potent.
Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly.
Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow.
One of the era's most prominent magazines, The Crisis, featured many of these short literary pieces from a wide variety of writers. This magazine had gained over 100,000 readers by 1918.
Equally important as literary accomplishments might have been, African American jazz and blues musicians from the time period of the Harlem Renaissance are still widely known today, such as Louis Armstrong and Billie Holiday. Duke Ellington's popular song, Black, Brown, and Beige Suite, was designed with the goal of racial advancement. It was performed in the iconic white venue, Carnegie Hall, and a very large black audience attended, despite the racial discriminations that surrounded the building. Other works, such as Ellington's Beyond the Jungle Sound and George Gershwin's Porgy and Bess, filled the ears of citizens all across the continent.
Moreover, art was also extremely prominent in the Harlem Renaissance and was perhaps the most vibrant pastimes of the era. From the beginning of the period, African American painters, sculptors, and dramatists ended the use of white caricature, representing their own race instead. Some of the most popular artists include Aaron Douglas, a geometrical figural representation illustrator, Palmer C. Hayden, a painter, and Augustus Savage.
As you can see, the Harlem Renaissance was an important and impactful era for African Americans, shredding the black stereotypes of Caucasians and allowing those with different colored skins to expose themselves in a way that showed the world how proud they were to be African Americans.
Though a splatter of paint or a few muddled words might not have seemed like much, they represent some things that are much more important: the equality of races.
Their talents and began to publish their works. Painters and sculptors became
The Harlem.
Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams dies, dreams.
Some of the most popular artists include Aaron Douglas, a geometrical figure representation.
Are you recording right now?
No.
I'm Disney.
Don't go. This time period is also widely known for African American. That was your fault.